We talked about how, like in the past couple of months, you've sort of been more visible, or I forgot exactly how you phrased it, but it was always almost like you wished that you had like kept up with people more, right? People from your past. So essentially, one of the things I would recommend is do the things now that you wish you had done before. Welcome to the Smart Gets Paid podcast with me, Leah Niederthal. I help women land higher paying clients in their independent consulting businesses, but I've never been a salesperson. My background is in corporate marketing, and when I started my first consulting business, I learned pretty quickly that it's about 1,000 times harder to sell your own stuff than it is to sell someone else's. So I taught myself how to do it, and I created the sales approach that I now share with my clients so they can feel more comfortable in the sales process, get more of the right clients, and get paid way more for every client contract. So whether your client contracts are $5,000, $100,000, or more, if you want to work with more of the clients you love, do more of the work you love, and get paid more than you ever thought you could, then you're in the right place. Let's do it together. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to rate, review, and share. Hey there, Leah here, and thanks for tuning in. I hope that wherever you're listening to this, wherever you are right now, you're having a good week, making some good progress on your business, and taking some time for you. So this episode is going to be a little different. So most of the time, I guess nearly all the time, on this podcast, on LinkedIn, in my work with the clients in the academy, I'm talking about how to be successful in your consulting business. You know, how to get more of the clients you want, how to get paid more, all of that. But today, we're actually not talking about that. Because in this episode, I'm talking to someone who decided that running a consulting business isn't the right thing for her right now. And she took a full-time job. She made that decision because of some really important reasons. And you're going to hear her, talk about them in our conversation. And you know what? I was really happy for her because it was absolutely the right thing for her right now. And when she brought that to me, the conversation then became what you're going to hear. It's about how the things that she was learning with me about how to build her consulting business, how she could use those skills in her new role. Because here's the thing, even though I'm all about helping you succeed in your consulting business, even if you go in a different direction, I want to give you the tools you need to be successful. And the skills and strategies that help you grow your consulting business are so valuable in other areas of your life and in other areas of your career. So this isn't something we talk about a lot, getting a job, but it is important because as you're going to hear, and as I'm going to share at the end, we each have to make the decisions that are right for us. And when we make those decisions, we need the support of those we care about. So in this conversation, you're going to hear why my client decided to take a full-time job, how she can still nurture her relationships even while she's working for somebody else, and the specific things she can do right now to prepare her to go back into her business when she's ready. So I want to send a huge thank you to my client for allowing me to share this conversation with you. Take a listen, and at the end, I'll come back and share a lesson that you can apply to your business. So what would be the best possible outcome for you of this call?
Well, we had a really long call, actually our first call, so I feel like it's a little bit different since we kind of went through a lot of my biggest issues.
We covered a lot.
I feel like it's more just like a check-in maybe. Okay. And just, okay, I have something to share with you. I've got some news, and I don't know how often this happens to other people in your course. I feel like we have such weird timing sometimes. It's good news. So I got an offer to go back to agency world. So what? I know it's crazy. And I would never go back just for whatever, It happens to be an agency where came in and they are just amazing. And they're trying to build this super diverse team. And between you and me, I don't want to do this long term, I just need some health insurance, to be honest with you.
Oh, I get that.
On my own, and my partner's between jobs, and I have all these things I need to do with my health. And so I was like, well, what if I can provide a lot of value to them, over the next 12 months, get my medical stuff in order, and then kind of do my thing. I feel like obviously I'm still in this and still want to learn, but I'm wondering if I don't know. I feel like this could apply to stuff that I do there in terms of, being able to close things or, to prospect. But I also feel like I'm going to have to pick up my own business because this is my long-term goal, is to be independent. But I just wanted to share that with you. It's a big change, and I haven't been in agency world for like 5 years. And there's even a couple of projects now. Speaking of breakup letters, it's so funny. I've been writing a couple, and you're right. As soon as you're like, I kind of have to go for a little bit, people are like, no, don't leave me. I was like, I should have done this earlier. Like that one guy who just was ghosting me and it was literally taking 4 months to schedule. As soon as I'm like, yo, I'm actually headed out the door. He's like, oh my God, can we do it this weekend? And I'm like, I've been asking you for 4 months to do our power hour thing.
Right.
And, as soon as you're like, well, I got to go now. They're like, holy shit. But yeah, that's just the big news. And I feel like, that's all.
Well,
and I just curious if this ever happens to you. Well,
first of all, congratulations. My first reaction, notwithstanding, you and I have talked about how we feel about the agency world, having
it's
both
crazy.
come from that.
Yeah.
But health insurance is no joke. And especially if you're going to work for an agency that's sort of being reimagined by people who are your people.
Yeah, I will say this, because I know you and I have talked about this, and what I wanted to achieve with my consulting career was how to do my work remotely. That was the big thing. And when you and I talked, I remember I got a lot of value because you were like, you just need to tell people that this is how it is, and that everyone else is going to accept it. Because I was just so scared to tell people like, hey, I need to work remotely. Is that okay? And you were like, no, you just need to say, like, this is so like how I do it. And that's what I had started doing. And it's crazy because when Corona happened, it's like now everyone's remote. And I feel like it just, I would never get a chance to do this. So basically they were like, you have to move to. So I was like, and again, trying to be confident, I was like, can I get 12 months to kind of work from? And they were like, okay, sure. So I feel like it's my own personal victory. So I think instead of being like, oh my God, what's going to happen after 12 months? I think I'll just not worry about the future, like my therapist says, like just let's do what we need to do. Mm-hmm. But half my role is kind of what I do now. But a lot of it is also going to be new business, of course, right? Which is a lot of this stuff as well, right? Which is just knowing how to get a yes, all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I do feel a little rusty on that because, I don't know if I should be. Like I've been selling myself for 5 years and my own capabilities, and I sold myself into them, So when they're just like, all right, new business, I'm like, all right, that's the name of the game.
Totally. And I think you're going to have so many more tools. BizDev is where I started at DDB. And then at Leo Burnett. But BizDev for an agency is very different than selling consulting services.
Yeah.
However, there's a lot that you can apply. You've learned about value-based messaging and how to position yourself and the agency, not just as what you'll do, but the way that you will transform a business, right? Or a brand.
Yeah.
You've learned about leading the client and really leading a sales process. I don't know to what degree you'll be able to influence pricing or all of that, but you can certainly lend some,
I'm building
guidance.
A new capability, right? For sure.
Oh my gosh.
It's a new thing.
I think what trips a lot of women up, and I think you experienced this, you shared this with me too, it's like selling yourself is hard because it's so personal. People feel a lot more comfortable selling somebody else, right? With you have a name behind you.
Yeah.
And so you're going to be able to do the biz dev, free from that heaviness.
That's so true. Yeah.
You have more tools and you're not going to be worried about like, will they like me?
That's so interesting. That is. I guess what I'm thinking a little bit also into the future about, again, I know agency world, I even got advice with people from really close friends before I took the job. They were like, girl, you're going back into the field. Like, I was like, I know it's not a lot, but what I'd love to do after I leave there is come back to my own thing, but I'm wondering if I can make it a little bigger. I don't know yet. I just feel like what's the next evolution of it? Because I've been doing that thing where it's just me, but I think it's really interesting now how it's like, oh, I'm just a strategist, but I know I could get more business if I partnered with, I don't know, a coder or like, someone else who makes the website or something like that.
Yeah, I think the vision can be a lot bigger. And what really happens is people stop hiding they stop being sort of quietly awesome, as one of my clients says, and they start being like visibly awesome, and people notice, and some people notice and want to hire them for consulting or coaching or whatever. And some people notice and want to give them a job. And so it hasn't happened in a long time, but I remember, I mean, I can think of a couple people, you know, few years.
I think that's exactly what you mean. And I never planned it, but I was just like, I just think even 1 year doing this is going to really help. Especially
with the year that you've had prior to this.
Oh my gosh.
Girl, get that health insurance.
Yes.
So, well, can I offer maybe a few things that, in addition to sort of what you're learning in the course, and you'll apply to your biz dev.
And it's been so helpful for sure. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
So, you know, we talked about how, like, in the past couple of months, you've sort of been more visible, or I forgot exactly how you phrased it, but it was always almost like you wished that you had like kept up with people more, right? People from your past. So essentially, one of the things I would recommend is do the things now that you wish you had done before.
Yeah.
You know, send out an email that said to everybody, you know, that says, hey, I'm so excited I'm joining this team.
Yeah.
Talk about your company's successes. Talk about your successes publicly on LinkedIn, where, you know, in the channels that make sense. Almost like, think about it. It's like if you're laying the groundwork for the next thing, but that groundwork starts now, with the benefit of you're actually not selling anything right now.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the last time we talked about how I was at 5 years ago, but I continue to get a lot of my consulting referrals from them. So now I wonder if even this year is going to build the foundation. Like if I do a kick-ass job there, I'm filling the hopper back up for my pipelines again, right? It's like, if I just like kill it and everyone loves me, and then if I go, it's like, great. It was like what did for me 5 years ago.
Exactly. So you're essentially priming the pump so that when you think about it, like when you leave this job, you won't be starting at zero.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
It's so exciting.
That's the first thing I want you to do. The second thing I want you to do is start a brag book. All right. Okay. A brag book is a Google Doc or a note or wherever you keep your notes of the awesome things that you are doing in this job. And I would actually go back and say, what are the things I did for my clients? Because what ends up happening is all these things that you do, and, you know, these like little wins or big successes, you sort of forget about them.
So true.
So it's the kind of thing where this would be helpful if you wanted to get another job, because also you could talk about your wins at the previous job, but you know, as it relates to your consulting, tell small stories, almost like make mini anecdotal case studies about what you're doing and what you have done. Yeah. And so you have a place to look at your successes, and that becomes anecdotes that you can bring into sales conversations, to proposals, you know, that becomes the stuff that it's like, yes, I can do this.
I love that. Brag book. I have a little email folder called kudos. That's more when people say nice things, but I feel like I put them together, my kudos list and a brag book.
Yeah. And the kudos, I love that, because my thing is called nice things.
Nice
I have
things.
a label in Gmail that's called nice things. But, you know, I would honestly put something on your calendar the last Friday of the month.
Okay.
What happened this month?
Yep.
That I can put in here.
I know. We totally gloss over it and like just woof, it just disappears.
Right. And then, you know, if you're looking for a job, or if you are going out to get new clients, it's, you know, all of a sudden you're like paralyzed, being like, oh, wait, what did I even do?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy because, of course, as soon as you're like, yes, I'll take this job, I just feel like so many people have come out of the woodwork because I've gotten all these shout outs on LinkedIn. Like a couple of women were like, these are the best strategists. And talk about like a lead generator. When someone makes a list and they're just like, here's 10 women who are amazing. All of a sudden my inbox is full of all these people I've never met. And they're like, I saw you on that list. There's a billion projects to work on. And I'm like, the timing. So I just wonder how I can like I do think this will be good. And it'll just make me a stronger independent consultant when that's over as well, I think, just being able to say, great, I've got some other achievements under my belt. But yeah, I'm curious. I just feel like people are still going to keep contacting me over the next year.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, what do I do? Like, I was just like, maybe I start a newsletter. Like, I don't know. I just trying to get creative. Who knows?
I totally would.
Yeah.
I totally would. You try to get as many people into your orbit, connect with people, collect people on LinkedIn, because now these are going to be the right people. I would never advocate that you just collect randoms, but collect the right people.
Yeah.
Say, I'd love to stay in touch, and then put them on your reconnect list.
Yeah. I feel like I need to keep them warm, right? I need to keep them warm.
Absolutely. Every quarter, say, what's going on, what's new in your world. This is sort of what we've been working on. If these are the people that we're hiring for, because again, you're not selling anything. So it's almost like less pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. But keep them warm the same way that, we're talking about keeping the people that you already know warm, right? Yeah. So that you don't look back the next time and be like, oh, I wish I could have, I wish I should have, or I totally should have, stayed in touch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's really exciting.
Thank you. And I'm excited to still go through, the rest of the course. I'm determined to finish. I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to finish. I just feel like, to me, it's like an evergreen course. It's something that you can return to every year and probably learn something different from it, because I'm going to be in a different context every time I look at it.
Yeah. Well, listen, I will see you in like a couple hours.
Yes.
And I'm very excited for this new development.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. I think it'll be really helpful. Thanks for just always being on my journey.
All right. So I want to pull out a lesson that you can apply to your business and to your life. And it's this idea of the season of life, and that you make the decisions that are right for you for the season of life that you're in. I first heard this term, season of life, when I spoke to Mandy Ellefson, the founder of Hands Off CEO, when she did a training for our Academy members about how to grow your business without maxing out your bandwidth. And in that training, she told the story about how when her kids were young, she realized that it just wasn't the time to build the big business that she wanted to. And she scaled it back to a business that was really successful, but manageable for her at that time. And she said, you have to build the business for the season of life that you're in. And that phrase really stuck with me. And I think about it a lot. And I find that it's really helpful as a frame for where to focus. And it really helps me take the pressure off for like all the things I want to be doing like right now. So perfect example. One of my life's goals is to do an Ironman triathlon. And if you're not familiar with it, an Ironman is a triathlon consisting of a 2.4-mile swim, a 112-mile bike ride, and a 26.2-mile run. So yeah, you heard that right. The last part is like a full marathon. It's a huge goal and a huge accomplishment. And even though I did a couple triathlons several years ago, it's like way, way, way beyond that. And training for an Ironman is like a part-time job in itself. Like at least 20 hours a week for months on end. And even though this is a goal that I think about a lot and I want to do it so badly, I also have 2 small children. And so doing an Ironman isn't right for the season of life I'm in right now. And this idea of the season of life, it's a great way to think about your business too, and creating a business that fits the season of your life. For example, one of my clients is putting her foot on the gas pedal in her business because she's been at the same level for a while and she wants to break through this revenue ceiling. I have another client who, after spending years traveling to client sites, wants to get more clients locally so that she can spend more time with her kids. One of my other clients is thinking about retirement and structuring her business so she only does the things she wants, because she said she's just too old to deal with the stuff she doesn't want to do, and having a business that'll allow her to take long vacations. And finally, another one of my clients wants to simply get paid more and make more money with no other extenuating circumstances, just for no other reason at all. She just wants to. And that's okay. I mean, we love that. And then, as you heard, one of my other clients decided that consulting wasn't right for her right now, and she accepted a full-time job. And I also love this idea of the season of your life because it's a great reminder that nothing is forever. Like me doing an Ironman, it doesn't mean I'm never going to do it. It just means I'm not doing it right now. Same thing with things in your business. Whatever you want to do that maybe you're not doing, and maybe you're sort of like feeling bad about yourself for it, it doesn't mean that you'll never do it. It just means now might not be the time. And when you get to another season, maybe that will be the right time. Because listen, I'm not trying to force people into anything. I'm there for whatever their journey looks like. I'm not the type of coach that'll tell you like the only way to consider yourself successful is to make like $1 million, 7 figures, whatever. Because the flip side of that and the whole, this is the only way you have to make 7 figures thing is that like, if you don't drive to do that, or if you don't want to drive to do that, then it makes you feel like you're not successful. And that's a shitty feeling, especially for women like us who are ambitious or overachievers and who want to do the best we can. Instead, I want to help you create the business and the life, what we call your 3X vision, that's right for you, and give you the tools to do that. It's not about my definition of success. It's about yours. And I think one beautiful outcome of that for my clients and for me is that it creates a space where people can bring what's really going on in their life, and we can have an honest conversation that's productive without fear and without shame. Because I feel like, yes, we are running our businesses and working with clients and building wealth. And around that and within that, life is happening. Our life is happening. And sometimes life looks messy. And we can't ignore how that affects us as people and also as business owners. It's one of the reasons why we offer family leave in the academy, where you can pause your payments for 2 months and let you take care of the people in your world or yourself without worrying about, quote unquote, falling behind in the program. And so you can get some payment relief. So you have to make the choices that are right for you and make the right choices for the season of life that you're in. Even if you end up getting a full-time job because you decide that consulting isn't possible for you right now or isn't the best fit for you right now, the skills and strategies that will help you build your consulting business, those skills are still a game changer for your career and a game changer for your life.